Hi, welcome to Longevity is the New Wellness with your host, Will Bozeman. Today I have a wonderful guest named Sara Wilson, and she is a coaching expert. She is also, you know what? I'll let her introduce herself here in a second, and we'll give us, you'll give us your background. We've actually had Sara on the show before, but she was on via Zoom to give us some education on the concept of longevity coaching. But we'll let her introduce herself, give us her background, kind of how she got into the field that she's in. And I think she has a lot more in her background than just coaching, obviously. She's a PA and in the medical field for quite a while. So she's got a lot of experience, and she'll tell us all about that. But I wanted to just remind everyone that this is Longevity is the New Wellness, and you can always reach out to me on my website, willbozeman.com, and the longevity tracking platform that I have called RELATYV, RELATYV.com. And let's jump straight in. Sara, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in the medical field, and hopefully wrap that into your coaching experience, because that's what we're talking about today.
Right. Why I became a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am a physician assistant, as you mentioned. I have worked clinically for over a decade now. It's been a while. Let's just say that. I work in academics, though. So I'm primarily at a university teaching other PAs how to become a PA. And we talked a little bit last time how I got into coaching. So I won't go too much into that, but mainly we, as faculty advisors, we have students that we essentially coach. So we developed a coaching platform through the university to coach our students rather than advise them, because we felt that coaching was more empowering for students for the long run, and they weren't as dependent on us when they finally went out into practice.
So your objective would be to then coach someone to do it on their own. Right. Essentially, they're going to be independent practice, PAs. So it's not, we didn't want them to feel like they've been coddled for 2 years and then just left on their own. Gotcha.
So we wanted to coach them throughout, coaching is very empowering. It's meant to have the individual at the end of it be able to do things on their own without the coach. But obviously when people are doing new things, such as becoming a career change, right, a PA, or a lifestyle change, you need someone to help guide you through those difficult navigation, figuring things out, right? Life is hard. Change is not easy. We are set in our ways. We are creatures of habit.
Yep.
Right. So everybody would benefit from a coach, in my opinion.
Well, so I'm glad you brought that up and that you feel that way about coaching, because in just even the last episode, I was talking with Dr. Julie about one of the biggest problems that we have I say we as in the entire healthcare community, is getting patients to stay on a track of care, right? Getting them to actually engage in therapies and stay on a course. And we talked a lot about lifestyle changes, right? It's not just a pill anymore, right? There's so much you need to do to engage in this. And particularly with longevity, we're talking about longevity as a motivation for engaging in health and wellness. And that's the whole point of it. But that is, again, it's not just a pill. It's a whole lifestyle of activities that are designed to help that longevity effect occur.
It should be.
Right. Exactly. So the next logical step for that is, if you're going to ask somebody to make a lot of lifestyle changes, then what's the best way to help them do that? And that is, I'm going to just say that out there, that is, let's get them connected to a coach.
Yeah. Well, and along with that, I mean, not to go off on a complete tangent, but the paradigm shift for medicine is actually transitioning to coaching. There are actually going to be reimbursable coaching payments for office providers to have a coach, because they realize how beneficial it is to have a coach, because the medical system, the way it is a prescription for every ill. No matter what it is, even if it's a supplement rather than an actual prescription, it is a provider shooting someone into what they should do. That doesn't always work. People can't always follow a script that's written generically for anybody to follow. They need individualized, tailored recommendations that work for their lifestyle. And that doesn't happen in mainstream medicine.
Right.
It doesn't. It needs to. But since I can't shift the entire medical field, I'm going to focus on where I can shift the paradigm, which is here, right? If people who are actively wanting lifestyle changes, who are signing up for that, well, let's coach them along the way so they're setting themselves up for success rather than I want to make a change just like every New Year's. People want to make changes that last for a month at best. Right? That's not what we're doing here. This is a longevity platform for wellness for a long time.
Long time.
Right? This isn't overnight either.
I tell people all the time, the, retention rate for a longevity person, to stay in a program and do is decades.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not just months and years. You need to be doing these things for a long time to be able to realize the effects. I mean, just a quick, recap. One of the other episodes, I talk about how, we're doing biologic age testing. Mm-hmm. We can actually have a patient, or say we'll call them a client here in this case. They can engage in these activities and they can test biologically younger, and they can achieve that within a few months. Mm-hmm. Let's say 6 months into this, they may be able to test 6, 8, 10 years younger than they were when they started by making these changes and doing this stuff. It just depends on a lot of physiology, changes there. But let's just say they do that. Well, what happens if they quit right after that, right? Well, in the book, I do talk a lot about that. It is, there's a homeostasis outcome, right? Mm-hmm. Where your body is trying to maintain itself the way it is. So it takes a long time to get it to maintain itself in the new, younger physiology that you have created. It doesn't just snap down to that and your entire body is now immediately younger. It takes years and years and years and decades for your body to fully acclimate to the concept that it is acting like a younger you, right? It just takes time. And then you have to stay that way, mm-hmm. right? So again, takes a long time. So if you're asking someone to do this and you just throw it all at them, and even just in the last episode talking, we were saying that what's the most important thing someone can do right now, today, that's probably the easiest thing they can do. And it's their diet. The easiest thing they can do is just stop eating something bad and start eating something good. Right. And we're not going to go into the variety of things that is, but the first complaint people would give you is it's so overwhelming. Yeah. There's so much stuff to consider that I just want to give up and quit it.
So you bring up a couple good points. First of all, long time is relative. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
So unaccepted.
Sure, this takes a long time, but in a span of a lifetime, does it really take that long? No, just people want immediate results. And this is not one of those things. Yeah, you will see changes quickly, but you're in this for the long haul. Now, are you going to have a coach the whole time? Maybe not. Maybe you just need it at the beginning, because a lot of these are going to become who you are, right? As you mentioned, physiologically, you are going to change, which is the goal, so that these won't become things that you need to be coached through, because that is just part of who you are. Healthy eating is not going to be a conscious effort that you have to make. Oh, do I eat this or that? No, at first it's going to be challenging, especially if that's something you struggle with. This is why this is very bio-individual. People sometimes don't struggle with the nutrition part. Right. They sometimes struggle with the movement part, or they sometimes struggle with knowing what supplements to take, because let's face it, the supplement market is astronomically confusing, and it's filled with things that are not quality products. So that's confusing. People don't have time to research that. So the effort involved can be very individualized. Some people just don't know where to start. And that's how a health coach can really step in and make such a big difference. It can make this change from an overall overwhelming, daunting lifestyle issue to, okay, this is the one choice I have to do.
I can do it today. Yeah. Today I can do
this is all I have to focus on. Is one thing, one step at a time, 1 foot forward. And yeah, there's going to be 2 steps back every once in a while, but a coach is going to be there.
But that's what the coach is for, right?
Exactly.
So let's jump into that. Now, this episode is, I want this episode to be geared specifically toward people who want to be a longevity coach, right? So the RELATYV platform, RELATYV.com, owns the terminology and the concept, the certification, if you will, of a certified longevity coach, right? So that's what is offered on that platform to someone who wants to be a coach. Mm-hmm. Come there, take the course, go through the training program. There's a training program right there. You can sign up and do it. There's a fee, but there's a certification that comes with it that allows you to act in this position, to actually work in this field.
Right.
So this is like you just said, when you're teaching PAs, to all the skills they need to engage in a new career.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what this is doing here too. If you are in the health and wellness industry in any way, I would say any way other than a medical provider. A medical provider has got a different level of responsibility that they have to engage in with patients. But if you're in any other aspect of the health and wellness industry, this is a great supplemental or a full-on career path.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I have that written down here. I want to talk about, who are the ideal candidates to add this certification to their professional profile. Right. So if you are, let's just say you're a fitness instructor, is this something that a fitness instructor would be able to add to their current, professional profile to gain credibility and to attract more clients to work with and actually add to their actual career?
The short answer is yes.
Yes.
Well, there's a longer answer to that though.
Okay.
And that's what I want to get into. When you mentioned who would be a good coach, technically anybody.
Okay.
I'm an educator. I teach people. They can be taught, right?
Yeah.
People can learn.
Can be taught.
Exactly, right? So it's not that it can't be taught. It's more of a desire,
Okay.
right? When I work for the admissions process too. I look for applicants, number one, who have a desire to become a PA. It's not an easy career. It's not going to be easy, and there's going to be a lot of training involved. But if you have that desire, I can work with that, right? So number one is wanting something more. You may be happy in your field, but if you want something more, this is a great addition, right? For anybody who's working in the industry related to health and wellness. I mean, even if you're not actually, we can teach you. I think the desire for anything related to health and wellness is important. So I think desire is the first part. I'm definitely going to talk about what a coach is not.
Okay.
I was thinking about that, but I want to kind of go into more of, what do you need to be a coach? So desire. Number two, I think some time. You need to have some time to do the training. There are lots of certification courses out there for coaches. Most of them are very extensive and long, upwards of a couple years. We're not talking that kind of time. Thankfully, we wanted people to be able to start coaching quickly. However, the coaching is self-paced, right? Okay. We're not going to hold your hand through it. You have to be able to, on your time, get through the material and finish everything so that we can get you connected with our clients, connected with your own clients, right? And on board with coaching. So there's that training process. You will get a certification at the end of it, not only as a coach, because there are fundamentals of coaching, which are enrolled in the course. The first module for coaching, the course is skills related to coaching. A lot of these skills are going to be used in other professions. Things like active listening, right? Powerful questions. You may use that in other industries, especially if you're already interacting with clients. You're going to be someone who listens, right? So those can be seen in other professions all across the board, but we're really going to hone into on coaching.
I will just point out too that that skill of active listening, could be an entire marriage counseling class.
Oh, seriously. And reflective responses. Yes.
So, it can be used across the board. That's the first thing I thought of is, I have been accused in my life. I say accused. I've been pointed out to in my life, growing up too, that I need to pay attention to what someone's saying when they talk to me and listen to them and then respond back to them. And when I was a kid, I would just, I hear you're talking, but I'm not really paying attention.
I hear there are words coming out.
There are words, but I don't have to listen to those right now. I'm thinking of something else, right? But you're right. That's just one skill of the many that you would learn in the coaching program. For any coaching program, right? That's one of the basic skills. Any coaching.
And I mean, seriously, we could have an entire podcast episode on just the ability to actively listen.
Gotcha.
There's so many techniques involved, and we're such a society. Number one, we're not taught. We're taught to listen in a way of being spoon-fed. That's not the same as active listening or reflective responses at all. It's not even remotely close. The other way we've been trained in society to interact is to talk back, right? We listen to respond. That's not what coaching is about at all. You are obviously going to respond, but coaches listen to be a mirror for their clients, right? To reflect what's being said so that the client themselves realizes what's going on. And then the powerful questions, let me dig deeper in that, because a lot of times people don't dig. There's a lot of superficial knowledge and superficial facades being put on. We want to dig through that, right? If you're trying to change a lifestyle, what you put on the front is not exactly who you are. And we are trying to physiologically change who you are. We need to kind of dig to your deeper why.
True.
And that's what the benefit of coaching is. We need somebody to ask those questions to us. So having a desire, being willing to take the time to get the training, we'll teach you how to do these things. We'll teach you how to actively listen to your clients. And then the next thing is you have to participate, right? I mean, you have to get out there and do the work. With coaching, you are the person holding others accountable. Right? We're not going to hold you accountable to coach your clients. You need to hold yourself accountable to show up for them, because that's what you're there for. You're there for their needs when they need it. Now, are there going to be boundaries? Absolutely. We don't expect there's going to be a scope of practice and ethical boundaries and everything. It's not going to be all hours of the day.
Right.
Right. But at the same time, if they reach out for a message, they should get a reply that day from you. This shouldn't be weeks later that they're not getting. So they need some interaction on a consistent basis. So you need to be someone who is accountable and consistently shows up. So
I was going to point out too, you just mentioned a couple of things that I would think if I were someone listening to this and I thought I'd like to be a coach, and then you mentioned some of those things, I would feel like, okay, well then what kind of support do I have? Because I would want somebody that I could go talk to for help. I would point out too, the RELATYV Certified Longevity Coaching Program, it is a provider based program as well. So you're not talking to these patients about their health and their medications and stuff on your own. You are, there's a provider, there's a medical provider who's already gone over that with them. By the time you are engaging with this client, they have a plan. They know what they need to do. You're going to be able to see that, and then you're going to coach them for that, right? Yeah. Coach them for it. So you're not creating an actual medical plan for them like the doctor did, right? You're going to be working with them to execute on their health plan specifically for longevity and the health and wellness that goes with it.
Well, to even add on that, you should not be acting as a provider.
Of course, and I just want to point that out because I think some people would think, oh gosh, so I need to actually create the diet plan. I need to actually recommend the supplements. No, those have been done already.
Well, you bring up the next good topic. What a coach is not. Okay, a coach is not an expert. Okay, you do not have to have a PhD in longevity to be a longevity coach. You're not an expert. You can be taught to ask questions, and that's really what coaching is about. We are going to train you in longevity, so hopefully you have that desire to learn things about longevity, to learn about the supplements, to learn about what the platform really is about. You as a coach will be enrolled in some of the behind the scenes aspects of what's going on for your clients, so you can see that, and you could also potentially see your own biological age, right? Yeah. To be able to have that lived experience. So a coach is not an expert. You are not a longevity expert. You're going to have knowledge about it. We're going to teach you. Lifelong learning is going to happen. We'll have ongoing continuing education, but you're not an expert, nor should you be. Because if a coach were an expert, you'd have to be an expert in everything, because the clients have completely different lives. They're coming from so many different backgrounds. Your job is to not be a mentor who has similar lived experiences. That'd be a mentorship. Then we'd have to partner people based on, it'd be like a dating website.
Different thing. Yeah.
It'd be totally different. So that's why we're specifically calling it coaches. Because you do not need to be an expert. Number two, scope of practice is going to be huge. We have all of our coaches sign a binding agreement regarding sticking within the parameters of their scope of practice. You are not a licensed therapist, right? You're going to be dealing with a lot of heavy issues that your clients might be going through. You are not a therapist. You're not dealing with mental health issues. You will listen to them. You will refer them to appropriate people who can help them in that regard. And you're going to help determine, is this something that's situational, or is this something that needs additional evaluations, right?
So that you just probably, if I were someone listening to this, I would think you just answered a lot of my fear questions. Like, I'm going to have to help them with their relationship issues. I'm going to be helping them with what they might have mental, concerns or just emotional issues, things like that, stuff that a counselor would need to see them for. And if I were considering being a coach and I thought all those things, I would shy away from it, thinking I'd be responsible for their health in those respects, all those other aspects I'm not quote unquote qualified to even talk about. But that's not the case. Because like you said earlier, anyone can be a longevity coach with the training, right? They just need to be trained. So you were about to say something else. Go ahead.
Well, you mentioned the support on the platform, right? So every client has a provider. So if the client is asking for things that a medical provider would need to do, there is a resource for that, right? You're going to be looped into what the provider is recommending. So you're going to know this prescription, right? The plan that the provider is indicating needs to happen or should happen. At the same time, you as a coach can determine how to break it down, right? If the list of prescriptions is yay long, or recommendations. We're talking, when I say scripts, I mean, that includes walking.
Everything, yeah.
Right?
The recommendation walking. To go do anything that they're doing.
Go eat a methylation diet, right? It's going to be any recommendation. So technically that is a prescription if it's coming from a prescriber who's a provider, right? So any of those recommendations a client may look at and just, again, not know where to start. You as a coach can break it down by asking powerful questions. Again, you're not saying, okay, I see on this list, there's walking. Let's start there. No, that's what a provider would do. You're not doing that. You're saying, let's look at this list and together we can talk about some of the things. What on here interests you? Right? You're just asking questions. Coaches are very curious. So if you're very curious in nature or want to be a detective, I mean, seriously, you're going to ask a lot of questions. This is exactly what that is. So you're having support not only from the provider. We have a list of referrals, and we can also help you if your client is needing a resource that we don't necessarily have. I'm going to be tied into all the coaches.
Gotcha.
Absolutely going to be tied in.
I would point that out too. Let me pause you real quick, that you are going to be the chief education officer for Relative.
The CEO.
Right. Yeah. The CEO. Yes. Or the CEDO, if you want to say that, the CEDO, CEO. We definitely don't want certain other, institutions and banks and people calling you for reports. Right?
No,
that's not your field.
No.
But as the CEDO, we'll just say CEO because I think that's fun. Well, as the CEO, you will be responsible to help these coaches. You'll make sure that they get the training that they need, they have the support that they need, and you'll be following up with them. You'll be the go-to for the coaches, right?
Yeah. And in that regard, so I'm gonna kind of wear multiple hats in there. Number one, yes, a coach for the coaches, right? I'll be able to ask powerful questions to help empower the coaches. And because I am coaching clients, I'll also be able to be like in that mentorship, to have that similar lived experience to say, hey, I know what this is like. I know what the platform's like if you're struggling with X, Y, or Z. Although I've seen the platform, for at least what you have, it's going to be fantastic. But I can relate on those levels. And I also have the ability to help make changes.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So we're going to listen to what our coaches indicate are some issues that they're commonly seeing and how we can make things even better, like continuous, never-ending improvement. That's a philosophy for longevity and for coaching. So I'll be there. Providers are going to be there. We have the website, and we're going to do ongoing continuing education. Right. We partnered with another health and wellness coach who's helped develop this coaching platform, and he is going to be helping us with future ongoing certifications because truly every one of the coaching modules could be its own course. We could have like an entire day-long workshop on each one. And
I think you even said in the future you wanted to have coaching retreats where all the coaches would come together, maybe stay at a hotel and do conference room lobbies and do trainings, things like that, just in-depth trainings. Because the coaching certification, this longevity coach certification can be its own career.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it absolutely can be its own career. You might use it to supplement your current career, but someone could come into this and make an entire career out of this. And again, like I said at the beginning, a client in this field, if they are taking it seriously, they're in this for decades. Yeah. So if you're a coach, you could end up working with the same client. You may not have them continuously as a paying client because they don't need a coach forever. That's the whole point, is for them to be able to do it on their own. but they might come into this and say for 3 months out of every year, they want you to come back on board as the coach and help them reinvigorate their longevity path because they were happier and healthier when they were really on track. And now they've gotten off track for, or they might stay with it for months. You told me once that in the previous coaching world you were in, some clients just that's their safety net. Yeah. They just wanted that coach and they kept that coach for years. So it's possible that you as a coach who's looking at this as a possible career for yourself, and you're excited about it, you could have clients that stay with you for years and years and years. And again, you're able to see them achieve the success that they're looking for over those years. It's a truly satisfying career path to be in because you're doing more. Again, I'll keep talking on this here, but a medical provider or a doctor is going to make recommendations, but they're not going to hold anybody's hand. Right. They're going to make recommendations and strongly encourage you to do the right things that you should be doing, but they can't make you do it.
Nobody can make you do anything.
Right? Well, they can't yes, but they not even can they not make you do it. They can't even, they can't even ensure you're actually going to show up to the next visit. Right. Right. So, but if you have a coach engaged with you, they're actually able to watch the transformation happen and encourage you daily to make this happen. So the coach has this really fulfilling career where they can see the effect of this work happening in real life, right? And actually watch the transitions happen.
Well, and on that note, because I am a medical provider, I'm going to say that most medical providers wish they could. They wish they could watch the transformation. They wish they could walk their patients through this. They wish they could be more involved in their change because most medical providers went into their careers to help people, right? Not to prescribe stuff and tell people to come back in 6 months for labs and follow up, right? But that's what medical system kind of has developed, right? For reimbursement's sake.
Yep. The traditional allopathic model is, and again, don't want to throw anyone under the bus on that, but there's a reason why you can't a provider is limited. Yes. Their time, they only have so many hours. They're like everyone else. We all have 24 hours. But when you're asking that provider to be the medical authority for 1,000 patients, they still have 24 hours, right? It's not like they have extra hours in their day to be able to help everyone. So it's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Well, and on that note, it's not within their scope of practice either. Most medical providers have very little nutrition training, hardly anything on supplements, let alone the longevity.
Longevity is very new.
It is very new. So a lot of providers, it's not within their scope of practice to even get down to this level to be granular. It's not that they don't want to. It's just the system isn't designed to set them up for success to do this. That's why we have developed this for coaches, because this is our way to make sure that our recommendations are able to be followed through, right? As provider, I think most providers I would love my patients to have a coach assigned to them to make sure that they are able to get through this and figure out the things like social determinants of health. What's stopping them, right? What in their life is inhibiting them from making these changes that they know are going to be helpful, right? Every provider would love their patients to have a coach. So in this area, it's not necessarily within their scope of practice. And talking about that as a coach, if you do have other certifications, you mentioned a fitness trainer, right? A personal trainer. If you do have other certifications, coaching can still fall within your scope of practice. You can talk a little bit more about fitness and movement with your client than you could. That could be your emphasis, Yeah, than you could if you didn't have that certification, right? So you can still use all of your training and other certifications because they will be tied into your scope of practice. Right. So if you have a nutrition background, you will probably be someone who will talk more about nutrition. I
wrote that down here because I was trying to think who would be the ideal person to add this certification to their current career. And I was like, fitness instructors, nutritionists, you probably can think of a whole list, but I wrote down just people who majored in exercise science who want to use that education, right? They may not even be in a career path right now, I myself, my first round, my first experience in college, I ended up working in a completely different field after I graduated. It just wasn't even what I studied.
You don't want to tell people you worked in archaeology?
Well, I will tell people my first degree was in archaeology, and in my first career level job out of archaeology was as a jewelry salesman. Right. But I learned a lot about sales and people in that.
It was a
perfectly fine experience.
Yes.
And I was there for a while. But that was because working in the actual archaeology field there wasn't a position available. There wasn't anything to do there. But I love the education side of it. Mm-hmm. So if you were in one of these health and wellness related fields, but you didn't actually pursue, I would call it, I guess what they call a terminal degree, to be an actual provider in that field. If that was your goal in the first place, some people don't even have that goal. But if it was your goal and you made it to that terminal degree level, then you're a provider. And you're not really likely going to be a coach because you don't have the time. Yeah. Providers do, like you said, very different things.
Right.
But in this world, in this world of coaching, exercise science, nutrition, health and wellness related majors in college, all those kinds of people would probably find this very interesting as a career path.
And I'm going to one up you to say, technically, you don't need anything.
You don't at all. Right.
Let's talk the PA profession. Some of my best students have been like airline pilots and business executives. I'm not even kidding you. Mainly because they went down the terminal degree and found out they were not happy.
Gotcha.
They found out this is not what they want to do. So now they're trying to get into PA school and medical schools or something that's in the field that they should have gone to. Maybe someone convinced them not to go down that route. They never thought they could do something like that. And now they're figuring out what to do in the meantime. Right? This would be great for something like that. If you're a business executive and you are absolutely miserable and you want to find your passion, come coach someone on the side. I'm not even kidding you. It would make your day. If you are maybe in between careers, right, and don't know what to do, start by, first off, I think with coaching, it really invigorates your why, right? Your passion, right? Especially because most people, not every career, but a lot of careers want to help individuals. Right. And that can be a broad amount. That could be education.
If you're, education major or things like that. Yeah, exactly.
And so, there's so many service industries to say you have to have an experience or have background in health and wellness related fields in order to be a coach. I feel like I said, anyone can be taught.
But not this one, right?
Exactly.
This one,
That's where I'm the desire is the key element. I can work with whatever experience you have because as you mentioned, I feel like experience is the best teacher. And some of your previous life experience can help you to ask particular questions in a certain way, right? Dig deeper, to give it an archaeology pun there, right? Exactly. You needed to do your research. You needed to research how people lived.
Right.
And what was their why?
Just a quick preface. After that, I went back to school and got the biotech degree and did the path into medicine. So everyone knows I didn't jump from archaeology into longevity. So.
And your PhD is also in a health-related industry.
Yep,
so
hopefully that'll be done this year. Just let everybody know I'm a PhD candidate 2024. So in medical research. So real quick though, we're running out of time here. One category I did want to mention too, we've mentioned this before, is that and I have my own sisters that were in this position they were stay-at-home moms. That would be or dads, right? I've actually been a stay-at-home dad for a while myself in the past. So so that particular category of people who maybe have children or they are working from home or they need something they can do from home. Yeah. That doesn't require them to actually drive somewhere and be away from their house or where their kids are coming back and forth from school. They need that level of freedom. This would be potentially an ideal career path for them, something that they could do from home during off hours while they're not, you don't have to actively, clock in somewhere, right? And you can handle your work with family and then you can handle your clients.
Yes. And so on that note, let me put out the disclaimer that my work and roles with longevity coaching are outside my academic roles at the university. I always like to put in that disclaimer because let me just say, I work remotely and I don't know if I ever want to go back to not working remotely. Right. So while my hours are mine, I still have a job to do. That's similar with coaching, right? You're not on the clock, so to say. You still have to get stuff done. Now, that could be when it's nap time, after you drop off the kids at school, after the kids go to bed. It could be all hours of the day. As long as you're getting the work done, it's not on the clock. You can do it from anywhere. You can do it from a coffee shop. You can do it from home. You can do it from the library. You can do it in your car while you're waiting in the pickup line for kids. So it's going to be accessible, which I love. It's not going to be a specific clock time. You can do it remotely. You don't have to go anywhere to get this done.
Right.
And it's just a matter of getting it done.
Yeah, it's the desire.
Yes.
On top of that, I'll point out too, just for everyone's understanding of this, the Certified Longevity Coach gives you the certification that we would require at RELATYV to be able to coach clients for this program. These clients are paying for the coaching service, and a coach would then receive monthly pay per client that they're coaching. We have a program where if you are a coach, we have active patients or clients coming in from all over the country and the world looking for this longevity platform. Every one of those people coming in are going to be offered a coach, and we'll be promoting coaches, right? If people are asking for a coach, we'll be assigning them to coaches. And then, of course, the other aspect of this is that you can bring in your own clients, and there's actually, I guess there's better pay for the clients you bring yourself.
And I think that's huge. Let's just be honest. Who doesn't know someone who wants to make their life better?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think the fact that this is one of the few platforms where you can actually go out and say, hey, there's this platform. I can coach you through it.
Yep.
Come join me. Let's make your life better. Let's reduce your age score. Let's get you on the path to wellness that I know you can be on. And who doesn't know a handful of people like that?
Absolutely. And I want to say one more thing too about the earning potential. I know this is probably not the best topic for, just talking about RELATYV, the health platform and all that. But as a coach, people do want to know, can this actually be a career that actually pays my bills?
Yes.
The answer is absolutely it can. If you're looking at the average scale of income, we believe that, and I won't speak to actual numbers. I'll let you do that when they inquire within, right, to tell them what their earning potential is. But I would say that it is largely above average income for someone who's got the average client load that they can handle. They would be making more than they would in most other average careers.
Yes. Yeah. And I also wanted to say that you and I have talked at length about this. Coaches are not selling stuff.
Correct. Yes.
Right?
In this program, you're not selling things to the clients. Yep. You are literally.
Nope.
So that's the.
You are not a salesman.
Right. That's something people who got asked about that. Oh,
we want to keep that separate. Products. Right. No, you're not selling. You're not promoting any specific things at all. Now, if you have friends who want to join the platform, again, you're not selling them. They will be referred to someone within RELATYV to talk about the packaging and the pricing and somewhere else. They're not going to talk to you directly to sign up. You will get the financial benefit in the long run from that by bringing someone in, but you're not the one to sell that. And we had a huge discussion on that. And I think that's important because coaches they should not be salespeople.
It's a pure relationship.
Right. You want to have that genuine
pure interest in their success.
Exactly.
Not a financial interest in buying the next product.
Right. They want to be able to trust you. Exactly. You have to build that rapport, and your client should not be questioning your intent and motivation
if you're recommending something to help them, they don't get anything for bonus, it. Yeah, well, the coach doesn't get anything special for them recommending something for the client. Right. So the client is going to be recommended only the things that's going to help them.
If the client is only walking and the coach is holding them accountability for walking every day, same payment as someone who's doing 16 supplements and hyperbaric oxygen treatment, so it's not about the financial gain. I like that because you're not having to stress about productivity and sales. You just need to make sure that your client stays engaged. That's accountability.
Stays motivated.
And you want that too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one shared goal that I just love that both of you have, and it's not about financial gain at that point.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're out of time.
Yes.
And I strongly encourage everyone listening to this to, if you have an interest at all in becoming a certified longevity coach, adding to your credentials in your current career, or becoming a coach for the very first time, because this can meet your abilities in your lifestyle to be able to operate in this career, to do this work, and you have a motivation for health and wellness and seeing this work, I encourage you to reach out to the platform. You'll actually be talking to Sara directly. At some point you will, because she's the one who oversees the entire coaching platform, and she's wonderful at this. So we're very grateful to have her on the show today. If you have any questions or a topic you want me to cover in one of the next episodes, reach out to me directly, willbozeman.com, and the Relative platform, RELATYV.com. You can reach out, ask us questions. We're looking forward to seeing you and working with you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.